All right, welcome. Good afternoon. I'm Keturi DeLong. I'm our Vice President for Philanthropy and Engagement at Texas A&M University Commerce. Go Lions. And we're here to talk it out today. And I think I am very excited about the guests we have today. Yvonne and Carlos are two stellar members of our team here in Commerce that have done amazing things. And every time I talk with both of you, my question list grows longer, my head explodes. I get very excited about the kinds of things that you're doing. I think one of the things about A&M Commerce that struck me from the beginning is a feeling of resilience and an innovative spirit. And I think that what you both are doing with competency-based education is really a hallmark of those two things. It really celebrates the heart and spirit of this university and serving our region. So before we get started, and I get too excited already from the beginning, I'll ask both of you to introduce yourselves, and then I have a long list of growing questions. So Yvonne, we'll start with you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Yvonne Villanueva Russell. I'm also just known as Dr. VR for short. That actually comes out of the mouth a little easier. And I'm the Dean of the College of Innovation and Design.
Wonderful. Thank you. Carlos.
Well, hi, everyone. I'm Carlos Rivers, and I'm the Executive Director for the Institute for Competency-Based Education. And I work closely with Dr. VR and the College of Innovation Design team to create CBE pathways for our adult learner population. And my job particularly is to promote the growth and the development of CBE programs actually statewide.
Fantastic. And I know you've been in front of our state legislature multiple times doing great work. So thank you both for what you've done. I'm going to start with an easy one. Carlos, I'm going to start with you. What is competency-based education, or CBE, and why is it even important?
Sure, thanks, Keturi. So CBE, as we like to call it, is really an innovative, it's a flexible and affordable education model, if you will, that allows students to really leverage all their knowledge, skills, and abilities to really earn a degree, a bachelor's degree. So unlike your traditional setting where students need to be in class at a specific hour, or they needed to submit a specific assignment, CBE, Keturi, is 100% online, and students really work at their own pace. And they can move through the program and potentially accelerate as they demonstrate mastery of those competencies that are in each course, okay? So just to give you an example, we have students, Keturi, that might have 20 years of financial management experience that can, really move quickly in an organizational leadership program, right? Because they've developed those masteries over time, those competencies, right? However, that same student in art appreciation might need the whole term, right, to build those competencies, right? So CBE really allows students to accelerate or decelerate depending on their knowledge and skill levels, okay? So when we look at CBE in comparison to your traditional programs, right? In a traditional program, students are paying per credit hour, right? So the more courses they take, the more they pay. CBE students pay a subscription pricing, a subscription model, just like Netflix, right? So they sign up for a 7-week term, $750. And it really doesn't matter if they take 2 courses or 5 courses, they're still gonna take, they're still gonna pay those $750. And so we have 6 of these 7-week terms running throughout the year. So a max a student will pay is gonna be $4,500 per year. Just think about that big difference, that big gap versus a more traditional program. And so this form of education is really important because not everyone can come to an 8 a.m. class, right? They can't be on the ground, right? A lot of individuals have family responsibilities, they have work, and they can really only get into their college class at 10 p.m. at night after the kids are asleep, right? So what we say is that CBE really adapts to the student's lifestyle and not the other way around, right? Where they can work at their own pace, and the faculty member guides that learning, that individual learning path, if you will.
Yeah, I think I would add a little bit to what Carlos said, is that the experience for the student is very much individualized. So we know that everybody learns differently and they learn at a different pace. And so the beauty of competency-based education is that it adapts to where the student is. So if the student comes in with a backpack of knowledge and a toolkit ready to go, they can accelerate through a course relatively quickly. If a student knows the material, but life gets in the way, as we all know, we've all been in Texas the last 2 weeks. I don't have electricity. I'm busy watching my kids. I don't have any water. That's okay, right? There are no deadlines in competency-based education. So if you need to take a week off for life, that is absolutely fine. So one of our programs, criminal justice with an emphasis on law enforcement leadership, we've heard from our law enforcement officers that even though in this last year of a pandemic and social unrest and no electricity, they really actually look forward to their coursework at 2 a.m. when they have time to do it. Even though they're working 48-hour shifts, they really look forward to schoolwork because they know they're able to apply what they've learned in their job to get preparing for their next step, their next promotion, their next pivot into a new career. And so you get to work really individually with a professor. So you're not in a class in which, do this nibble for this week. It's do what you can, what you feel you're capable of this week, and you're receiving this individualized feedback from the instructor. This was great. This wasn't so great. Let's work on this. Let me give you this additional resource. So it's a different form of receiving and delivering education, which is really innovative.
That really is. That's exciting. So to kind of restate what I heard, tell me if I got it in a snapshot. It's a flexible program at the learner's pace. And instead of based on the amount of time you spend on something, it's about mastery and competence over something. So what kinds of students does this appeal to? What's your student body? Who's really taking advantage of this really distinctive approach?
Yeah, I'll jump on that one first, and I know Carlos will add because he's our numbers and our data guy, and so he will actually wow you with actual statistics that we have. We tend to really tap into the adult market and students that really never felt that college was for them. They're first generation students, they're working adults. They may be in El Paso. They can be anywhere in Texas because our programs are 100% online. So we are just as accessible for the rural student as we are for the urban student, right? If you're working 80 hours a week, you can still fit this in. If you are a parent with 3 children, you do not need to sacrifice your degree for your children's degree. You can earn a degree alongside them. So our students tend to be non-traditional. They tend to be older. I believe the average age is 38. And they have, I think, Keturi, you talked about it, they have grit. Right? They have this moxie, they have this drive. They want the degree for them as much as they want it to be able to advance in their careers. And I think that's something that is exceptional and unique about the students in our college.
And that's exactly right, Keturi. Just to add, it's just very different than our traditional on-the-ground student population, right? That it's 18 to 24-year-old. Most of our students in the CBE programs come with some level of college credit that they just really haven't been able to turn into a degree. So they've paid for higher education and they just haven't seen the return on investment of their higher education experience, right? It's a great opportunity for them to come back and finish something that they might have started a long time ago. So when we look at our CBE surveys, Keturi, it's not even about the price. It's really about the flexibility that CBE affords them to finish that degree and be able to move up in their careers.
I love hearing that. That's really exciting that we're meeting a need. So tell me a little bit more about that need. Why is it important that we at Texas A&M University Commerce, why is it important that we're providing these programs in CBE for this community?
We're all looking at each other to see who's going to answer. So why is this important for people in this area? I think this is important for everybody around the nation. So we know there are 4 million Texans alone that have some college and no degree. So like Carlos said, that's money invested, but no return on investment. So that's debt. And it did not necessarily help them get a job, right? And so we are in this business not only to increase the knowledge level of people, but to increase their potential in life, right? To enable them to qualify to apply for different jobs, to pivot into different careers. And so our degrees, I think, are unique because we are flexible, not only for the student experience, but also in terms of the transfer work we can accept. So if you've had technical education, Wickham courses in community colleges, we can accept those towards your degree, whereas other programs cannot. If you are a police officer and you have basic peace officer TCOL credits, we can convert those into college credit and give you a window so that part of your college degree is already taken care of because of your work experience. So it's really important, and we've tried to make it accessible, which I think ties into the diversity, equity, and inclusion strategic plan of our university.
Yeah, I'll add, Keturi. You know, we really need to thank visionaries at A&M Commerce. I'll mention Dr. Mary Hendricks. Really, our organizational leadership program was the state's first SACCOC accredited CBE program. It was really important for our region because what we identified was a huge need for mid to upper level managers in our area. So this organizational leadership program is allowing people that might have been stuck at their job and they couldn't move up because they didn't have that bachelor's degree, right? And for commerce in particularly, we were serving our traditional student population fairly well, but we were underserving our adult learner population. And so this degree really came in to truly serve that niche market of adult learners that Dr. VR mentioned is around 4 million and growing. So when you look at our programs and the scale, we have scaled from 7 to 500 students in the organizational leadership program. And it's actually the third largest program on our campus. And our new CB program, the criminal justice program, with that emphasis on law enforcement leadership, in less than 2 years, it has grown to over 200 students and it already has 50 graduates. So we are really serving the need of our region and particularly adult learners.
Yeah, I think I'll tag team and I'll jump on just a little bit more to what Carlos said, is that, you know, universities tend to pride themselves in being steeped in tradition and doing things the way we've always done them. But one of the things I love about A&M Commerce is that we fly in the face of that, right? So when the then governor, Rick Perry, in 2002 challenged the state of Texas and said, create me a degree for $10,000 or less, every other school except for A&M Commerce and South Texas College, they scoffed at that. They were like, that's ridiculous. We can't do that. Well, A&M Commerce is the type that's like, how can we make that happen? And so they did it under the leadership of Dr. Mary Hendricks, launched the organizational leadership program in 2014. So I think universities are now at the point where they need to be responsible and responsive to the real lives of our students. They need to have flexible programs, but they also need to be responsive to industry and what the market demands. And so what the College of Innovation and Design does is that we actually go to industry and we go to the market and we find out what employers need in their graduates. What do they want to see? What can people not do that they need to do? And we make sure that we provide that. So all of the degrees and certificates that are designed in the College of Innovation Design are done so with advisory boards and done with extensive consultation with the DFW Metroplex to make sure that our graduates are going to get jobs upon graduation.
That's exciting. I love hearing that, you know, we've been kind of the scrappy school in East Texas to roll up our sleeves. You tell us you need something done for that much, watch us go. And I think that really hits the spirit of who we are and where we're going, and for a very important reason. And the adult learner population is critical. So kudos to you all for taking it and running with it and really being an innovator, and I'd say a disruptor in this space. And Yvonne, I think you're right. I think higher education can be a little ivory tower at times. And the responsiveness of A&M Commerce, and in this program in particular, to adapt to industry needs real time is distinct and stellar. So keep it up, cheering you on. I'm curious, you know, we talked about the region, how this impacts the world really, but talk to me a little bit about Texas. Texas has some bold goals. How is what we're doing contributing to the Texas, what is it, the 60 by 30 Texas goals?
That's right.
Talk to me about that, Carlos.
Sure. So for those of you that don't know 60 by 30 TX, that's our state's higher education strategic plan, right? And so what 60 by 30 calls for is that by 2030, at least 60% of Texans ages 25 to 34-year-olds, so again, that adult learner population, will have some type of credential, okay? And the goals set out for a reduction in time to completion, of course, increasing marketable skills, so like Dr. VR mentioned, working with industry, right? And a reduction in student debt, right? Such an important topic as well. And so currently we have close to 4 million Texans with some college and no degree. And Keturi, the fact is only 36% of that adult learner population in the state has some type of associate degree. So we're way off that 60% that we're looking for by 2030. So CBE, and we'll run through the outcomes here in just a bit, but CBE is proving to be one of the most effective models to serve returning students that need that flexibility so they can come back, reskill, upskill, whether that's staying in the same company or getting that bachelor's degree and moving into another organization. And then on the institutes end, we really work in commerce, but outside of commerce as well. Currently in the state, there's 13 of these Texas Affordable Baccalaureate programs across the state, many that are CBE and are serving the population in 60 by 30 TX, right? That are working adult, that adult learner population. We'll discuss it more in the outcome section, but CBE is helping students reduce both time and cost of degree when we compare it to similar peers in more traditional programs.
I have another question about the CBE model. For a lot of people, and I saw a question about it too, and I've heard it from others, a lot of people, they hear about competency-based education. It's a new thought. It's very different from how we've always done education. And people wonder, are you telling me that A&M Commerce is going to be a trade school now? Tell me a little bit about how this program is different than a trade school approach and how this is, the goals are different. Talk about the distinction, please. Sure.
So trade schools exist in a space that are very necessary. They provide vocational and technical skills, such as welding or automation and refrigeration repair. We are not going to tread in that precious territory of the technical schools and the community colleges. Those institutions exist for a reason and they have their own niche. What we do is build upon those technical skills that somebody may have and make them a three-dimensional global citizen, right? That is able to communicate with diverse people, that is able to work in teams, that are able to solve complex problems. We are trying to educate a 21st century thinker that can work in an organization that is completely unpredictable that we've seen. And so, yeah, so a technical school is wonderful, is amazing, right? But that is not what we do. We build upon that and create bachelor's and graduate degrees.
Well put. That brings a lot of clarity. Now, I know we were kind of priding ourselves of being one of the first in Texas to really jump on this and create a program, an affordable, flexible, innovative program quickly. And I also know that we weren't the very first. So can you talk to us a little about some other models like Western Governors Association and some other peers, other schools that also offer CBE or competency-based education, and how our program is different?
So I would say, Keturi, that what's interesting about CBE is that we all really have our own different flavors of CBE or our own versions of CBE. So just difference with the Western Governors model is that they offer theirs in a 6 months time frame, right? We're in 7-week intervals. So we have shorter time frames that allows our faculty and our advisors to work one-on-one with students to make sure that we're progressing, right? Another thing is the affordability piece, where theirs is $3,000 per term, ours is $750 per term. So I can tell you that our price point is probably one of the most competitive price points in the market. But for the most part, the Competency-Based Education Network is a group of individuals that work together to really build out innovative models to serve our students.
I think another difference between, say, A&M Commerce and Western Governors or some of the other for-profit schools is not only price, but they use what's called an unbundled model of instruction. And so you'll have, say, what's called a mentor, which is kind of your advisor. Then you have your instructor, which kind of helps you navigate the class. And then they have this grader that you may or may not know that's kind of actually giving you the grade for the class. Then they have all of these people in the background that are actually creating the class and creating the rubrics and building and designing things. It's very much like Wizard of Oz behind the scenes. We don't have any of that, right? So we have a subject matter expert that probably has extensive work experience, that has designed the class, that is teaching the class, that is going to have a relationship with you in the class, and is going to know you by the time you graduate. We also have an embedded success team. And so we have an advisor who stands at the ready, who is just as involved in your education as is the instructor. So if you have not logged into your class in a week, your instructor is reaching out to you, but your advisor is probably on the phone texting you saying, where are you? What's going on? Oh, you don't have electricity? Okay, no problem. How can we help you with that? And we're not going to bother you until you get your life back in check. So we try to address the holistic, real lived experience of the student. And because at A&M Commerce, we pride ourselves in a culture of care and in relationships, authentic relationships with our success teams and our instructors.
Fantastic. So let's look to the future for a little bit. Let's dream big. What do you see ahead? Like, if you're going to describe the future of competency as a competency-based education, what does that look like? Where are we going? What does the future need, and how can we provide it?
I'm going to tear off just a little baby step, and I'm going to set up the immediate future for us, and then I'm going to toss it to Carlos because I think he has big dreams of world's domination, and I want him to have the space to cast his net far and wide. But immediately for the College of Innovation and Design, Dr. Mark Rudin has given us the charge of creating 10 new competency-based programs that are workforce leaning in the college. We can't build all 10 at a time. We're chunking off about 2. So we hope to launch 2 new competency-based programs. We're also very excited and very indebted to thank the Greater Texas Foundation, who awarded $750,000 to the Texas A&M University Foundation that enables us to provide the infrastructure for these new programs. So that grant is enabling us to launch these programs with full-time instructors, but also what we're doing is we're expanding our student support model. So that absolutely fantastic success team model of the advisor and the concierge and the financial aid advisor that we've already talked about, and Keturi, you've already featured on one of these segments. We're expanding that because we know that a student inquires and then graduates, there are problems and still barriers that make college difficult for people. And so we want to make sure we remove all of that. So we're going to create new positions in addition to the concierge and the advisor. We are hiring a university partnership coordinator. We actually have that job listed on our website today if you're interested in applying for that. And so whereas Carlos and I are building these programs, we also need somebody out there in the DFW area that understands education, that knows those pathways from the technical schools, from the community colleges, and from employers and industry to help us create open pathways so that people that are employed or people that are in community colleges or just they're out there and they just need a degree have a way that they can easily become aware of our programs and apply for them without problems. One of the other programs or positions that we're creating is called an undergraduate enrollment specialist. And that is a person that literally will hold your hand. If you don't know what FAFSA or SAP or EFC means, because college is a scary world with a bunch of initials that you're supposed to know about, that person will help you, guide you, translate what college means to get you into your courses, and then our success team and our instructors take it from there. So every possible barrier that might exist to college, we are trying to remove to make sure that college is affordable, accessible, and meets the needs of our students. Okay, Carlos, dream big.
So Keturi, I really think, just to add on to what Dr. Villar said, I really think that CBE today is what online learning started to be in the 90s. I really think this is the future of higher education, where people can come in, use their knowledge level, competencies, and abilities to move at a faster pace through curriculum, right? So at the Institute for CBE, we do a lot of research and we work with a lot of research partners. So it's not just us, right? This is nationwide, worldwide, Keturi. So in a recent survey of the American Institute for Research, over 600 institutions are saying 76% of them believe that CBE is going to continue to grow in the next 5 years. So the Institute from Commerce is going to continue helping institutions throughout the state build these CBE models. And then we're also going to continue applying for grant funding so we can get to those 10 programs that Dr. VR is mentioning at A&M Commerce. So really it's here to stay. And I think we're going to see a big spur of growth of these programs throughout the nation.
Good news. I'm going to pull you back down to earth for a second, Carlos. I'm going to put on my data hat because I'm a nerd also. I'm going to say, prove it to me. What are the outcomes that suggest that CBE is really going to do the things that you're telling me it will?
Sure. So again, we only have 2 programs and only 1 longitudinal, which is the organizational leadership programs. But here are some of the outcomes, okay? 92% of all enrolled students in our CBE programs are ages 25 and up, right? And we mentioned the average age is 38. So we are really accomplishing the value proposition set by 60 by 30 TX, which is bringing adult learners back and finishing that degree, right? Having them see that return on investment from higher education. When we talk about time to completion, it's taking our students roughly 8 of these 7-week terms, okay? So that translates to a year and 4 months. Compare that to a more traditional setting where it's taking them longer than 2 years. So they're saving time to degree by a year. And mind that these are students that maybe would have not returned to higher education without these programs. In terms of cost, the average cost to completion for our students in this subscription model, right? This is the Netflix model of education. We're looking right around $6,000 for the entire degree. Okay, that's less than half the cost that they would inquire in a more traditional program. So on average, in a traditional completer program, we're seeing around $15,000 to completion. So saving in cost as well. In terms of debt, only 37% of our students take out debt in comparison to 65% of students in our more traditional program. So less students taking out debt as well. We're seeing it across all indicators. Retention, 84%, much higher than our more traditional programs. Graduates, by fall last year, we're closing our 1,000 graduate count in less than 5 years from the program. But don't just take it from me, right? When we survey our students, what they're telling us, 41% of students surveyed said that after obtaining their degree with commerce, they were able to increase their income. 31% reported that they received that they moved up in their career with their current employer, and some even ventured and went into another position, so upskilling and reskilling, right? And then 97% of our graduates are telling us that these CBE programs are preparing them for careers in leadership. So there's some of the data points of what these programs are accomplishing. And on the Institute side, we are putting out a lot of research on how these programs are and will continue to transform student lives.
Yeah,
okay,
let me add to that. Like, I don't have any data that's as sexy and as impressive as Carlos, but I have on the ground anecdotal data to tell you that just from a student perspective and from a faculty perspective, I've been at A&M Commerce for almost 20 years. I've worked with every population group at the university. I've worked with undergraduate, I've worked with graduate, I've worked with students in multiple colleges and the Honors College. What is unique about our graduates from competency-based education is that they graduate and they walk that stage with a sense of confidence and a sense of gratitude that you do not see anywhere else. These students have struggled and overcome. And this is a huge victory for them and their families. So to see them and their children and their parents and their siblings all there cheering them on is so satisfying. And one thing that I've learned living in Texas is that people are super opinionated, right? Like when they don't like something, they're very quick to tell you. And when they do like something, they're also very quick to tell you. And our students flood our inboxes with thank yous, with I couldn't have done this without your feedback. It's very unusual at a graduation reception to see students go up to their professors and say, thank you so much. Can I introduce you to my parents? Will you take a picture with my family, right? Like most students are like, ooh, there's that professor that scared me and gave me a B, right? These people are like falling all over themselves to pose with our instructors like they're rock stars. And so I just think that level of engagement and that level of gratitude is something that really warms my heart and makes me feel like we're involved in something that's very impactful for students and the state.
You are involved in something very impactful, both here in Commerce and across the state. As we wrap up, I'm wondering if there's anything you want people leaving this conversation to know that maybe they didn't know before today, misconceptions or anything.
I have two things. One is that competency-based education is amazing. It is innovative. It is disruptive. It's all these things, but it's not a magic bullet. So it may not be a perfect fit for every student, right? Some students cannot take an online program because they need that didactic face-to-face professor that is instilling them with the expertise they need. Some students that are online need to have that teamwork and need to have that instructor-led experience. So in the College of Innovation and Design, we also have other online programs that are geared for adult learners. We have a Bachelor of General Studies that is offered in traditional 16-week semesters in which the instructors are phenomenal and they give you bite-sized pieces to digest and then you accumulatively learn throughout the semester. So that is an option as well. So competency-based education is not for everyone. The second that I want to let you know is that in addition to our Greater Texas Foundation grant, we also received a second grant from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. It's called the Texas Reskilling Grant Fund. We call it Project Complete for short, right? And we actually created a consortium with 5 other institutions in North Texas. And these grant funds are available for students that have started college but not completed and are likely to finish within a year, right? We can provide tuition assistance for students who think maybe now is the time for me to get back in that education market so I can prepare to get a job or to change careers, et cetera. So we have potential scholarship dollars. Actually, these are grant funds that do not need to be paid back. And it's called Project Complete. And again, if you're thinking, maybe this is for me, I'm an adult and I want to complete my education, maybe now is the time, we encourage you to reach out and inquire about Project Complete.
Project Complete. Sounds like a real workforce development solution, and it sounds like a solution maybe to a lot of you or your children or friends who have perhaps been suddenly unemployed during the year of a pandemic. You know, there's a lot of ways that this can be a solution. Carlos, what are some of the things you have in mind that you want as takeaways or newfound knowledge for the people watching today?
I think that it goes back to the students. So yes, I do mention a lot of the data, but it's incredible to see the qualitative responses of our students. So here's one for you, Keturi. It has been my miracle because it fits into what my life is now: a full-time employee, a wife, a mother, and now a student. So what we're seeing is that these programs are allowing individuals to come back to higher education after maybe being across different institutions, programs, not thinking that they could accomplish this, and finally getting that degree so they can move up and earn higher wages and live better lives for their families. So I wanted to end up with our students and how it is changing their lives and that of their families.
Fantastic. I'm sure we have some people out today who are inspired by what you've shared. Either they think, okay, I can do this, I'm going to enroll, or I want to help other people accomplish this, where can I give? If someone's inspired and wants to take action, where do they go?
Oh, you wait to the last question to stump us, right? I think if you're interested, I believe we've got an email address. You could email. I'll direct you actually to Tara Thompson. She's one of our Rockstar advisors. We have lots of Rockstar advisors, but I'm going to pick on her email simply because it's coming to mind very easily. It's orgladvising@tamuc.edu. And I'll put Tara on the spot in terms of directing this person wherever they need to go.
ORGL advising at tamuc.edu.
Yes.
I put it in the chat. And if you go to go on, Carlos.
And that's for our organizational leadership program. And then for students interested in our criminal justice program, Jimmy Womack is the program coordinator of the program. So he would be the one to reach out to, and that's JIMMY.WOMACK@tmuc.edu. He would be the right person to reach. Both wonderful advisors, coordinators for these programs, and they can provide more guidance for students interested in enrolling.
And I can answer the given question. Just go to anmcommerce.edu or our A&M Commerce website, and there's a big give button, and just hit there and hit CBE, Competency-Based Education, and we'll get your gift to these wonderful people on the screen, and or to the students who want to enroll in these CBE programs. When I think about the pandemic and the year that we've had and the recent snowstorm or cold freeze, whatever you want to call it, I see what you're doing here as a real solution to the ever-changing landscape of life. Any final comments about how this program adjusts to being human and the world that we're living in? That's really unprecedented is an overstated term, but I don't know how else to say it.
Keturi, what I can tell you is that this program is truly resilient. When a lot of higher education, particularly traditional programs, saw enrollment go down, this program actually jumped 25% up. And that is because it is meeting that need that you're talking about. During these times, 100% online programs, flexibility, affordability is allowing these students to come back and finish their degrees. I get so many emails, from people, and I want to point out Jimmy. A lot of the emails he receives just of people being thankful that they can come into the program, as Dr. VR was saying, at 2 a.m. after a long shift and accomplishing their coursework, right? So it is education that is adapting to people's lifestyle, right, and not the other way around, which is what higher ed should be. Right. And so it does open the opportunity to people to come back and finish strong.
So yeah. I'll end with, sorry, go on, Yvonne.
I was just going to say that I would echo that the pandemic has deconstructed what time means to me personally, and I think to a lot of you, right? So whereas a lot of us used to have the luxury of working from 8 to 5, now we know that there's one device in the house and we all need to share it. So my time on the computer may only be from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., right? And that may be the only time in which the bandwidth in the house, because our internet isn't good, is strong enough for me to do assignments. And I may not be able to do my schoolwork until 5 a.m. because I'm also homeschooling my kids and I'm working from home and I'm trying to find food at the grocery store and I'm trying to look for a job. These degrees are entirely possible to you, and they are accessible to you, and they are something that are within your range of possibilities. So if you're thinking, I could never do this because I don't have a set number of hours a day to do this, you don't need that, right? You can make it a priority and you can make this work. Our law enforcement officers are doing it in the most trying year of their lives. They're graduating in huge numbers. And so if you don't think this is for you, this is the time in which this form of flexible education is worth trying out, I think.
I had a question from someone. Does this program incorporate real work study? They've worked with, they know several people who have started college, but they haven't finished, and claim they might be a little naive. So does this program kind of incorporate that real work study so that they're truly prepared for the workforce?
Right. So we don't have like traditional internships in our courses. The coursework is very applied. So in the capstone course in organizational leadership, you will go out and you'll interview those people in that job that you're hoping to get. So you're in some ways networking, you're getting yourself out there with potential employers, and you're finding out what exactly it takes to succeed in that job. We also have a success team so that if you don't know what college means and you don't know how to navigate registration or financial aid, we've got your back, right? We can translate, we can help you, we can help complete all those forms necessary for you. So are you prepared when you graduate? Absolutely. Are you prepared as you go through the program? Absolutely.
All right. Well, I can't thank you both enough. I'm going to boil this down into one final question for you. Since I gave you a hard one easier, I'll give you an easy one now. What is your very one favorite thing about CBE and at A&M Commerce?
I would say for me, and just from hearing it from our students, is the flexibility.
Flexibility. Good answer. Pass the test. Yvonne?
I'm afraid I'm going to fail in my answer now. Carlos is so good. I don't know if I can. What was the prompt again?
One favorite thing.
Oh, my one favorite thing is grateful students that cross the stage at graduation.
I'll cheat and say one more: personalization, because the faculty member is working one-on-one with each individual students on their own learning pathway. So we're not all learning at the same pace, right? We're all have certain level of competencies on a subject. So that personalization component, I think as well, is really, really key to the success of this program.
Yvonne, if you want a +1, since Carlos got 2, you may have one in addition to your grateful students answer.
I think what I like the most, it's just the opportunity to do new things, right? It's not like we've created these programs and this is the only thing we're ever going to do. Organizational leadership may show itself to not be what the market needs. And if that's the case, goodbye organizational leadership and hello digital storytelling, or hello puppetry in ponds. I don't know. I don't think it's puppetry in ponds. However, if that's what the market demands, that's what I'm going to build. And that's what gets me up every day, because I don't know what the future holds. I just know I'm going to design my way there.
I love that. We're going to design our way to what the future needs, one step of the way. I like it. I'll be interested if it's puppetry.
So.
That would be a surprise, but you know, I keep being surprised this year, so we'll see. But I can't thank you both enough, Carlos and Yvonne. You have been a delight. You never disappoint. I am so grateful that you're at the helm leading CBE here at Commerce. And thank you all to our students who are in this program. We couldn't do it without you, and the amazing faculty that you all have recruited and retained. Outstanding work. So we have emails, addresses in the chat if more people have questions or want to reach or give or apply. And I appreciate you. So with that, I'll say go Lions and goodbye.